Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of you once again for our monthly Prerana festival from ISKCON Youth Services IYS Mumbai. And we are very, very happy to welcome you back for our yet another amazing event. Today, we are celebrating the 177th Prerana Festival, a grand celebration so far going on. And we have very unique topic today. The topic for today is how Gita helped me in corporate and entrepreneur life. And the speaker for today is His Grace Sridama Sakha Prabhu. Haribol. Sridama Sakha Prabhu is a well-known, wonderful soul. Everyone in ISKCON Chopati temple here knows him. I would like to introduce him briefly to all of you. Sridama Sakha Prabhu is a well-known, top-notch business leader. He is specially named in the legal field in the outside world as Siddharth Hosangadi. And Siddharth Hosangadi Sridama Sakha is an accomplished business leader and coach with over 2 decades of sales and leadership experience, spanning several industries, geographies, and functions. He is currently the founder of GoPush Consulting, a sales consulting, training, and coaching services company, which has helped several startups grow their businesses. Sridama Sakha Prabhu Siddharth Hosangri has been having a stint with Oracle India, where he was the country head for the ERP businesses. Before that, he was employed with SAP India for nearly a decade in various sales and leadership roles. Before SAP, Siddharth Hosangri worked in the IT services industries in multinational companies like Satyam and Ness Global Services. And Siddharth started his career in ICI India as a regional sales manager. So these are his beautiful accomplishments so far. We are very happy to have him here. In academics, Siddharth Sridama Sakha Prabhu has done his BE from the famous prestigious UICT College, which was that time called as UDCT. In the year 1995, he finished his bachelor's degree. He went on to do his MBA in 1997. He passed out from the famous Jamnanal Bajaj Institute, and he has taken in this formal training in leadership, strategic selling, and effective public speaking there. So this is Sridama Sakha Das Prabhu with us, who is also an active member in ISKCON since the year 1996. His whole family is a very spiritually inclined and well accomplished in career. He has 2 kids, and they're also very nice, growing up in a very beautiful environment of both spirituality and materialism in proper career. Sridama Sakha Prabhu is an accomplished speaker in spiritual circles, also very sought out devotee for many Gita lectures and his wonderful experience in spiritual life. He is currently a very senior counselor in ISKCON Chopati, and he counsels around 25-30 families regularly. So here we have with us His Grace Sridama Sakha Prabhu for the 177th Prerana Festival. And topic for today is how Gita helped me in corporate and entrepreneur life. Over to Sridama Sakha Prabhu. Let us welcome Sridama Sakha Prabhu by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can someone just confirm you are able to hear me? I presume you are able to hear me. So first, I'd like to take a moment to thank the temple ISKCON Chopati for giving me this opportunity to speak at this prestigious Prerana festival. Ever since I came into Krishna consciousness, this Prerana festival, I attended it a couple of times. I always had this desire, like they say, every person has a bucket list. So I had this bucket list thinking that someday, I would love it if I could have an opportunity to speak at the Prerana festival. So I never felt that I am qualified to do it. But somehow Baldev Prabhu and Nandgo Prabhu gave me this opportunity. So I'm very grateful to them. And I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and all of you before I speak on this topic. I'm going to be talking about this topic of how the Bhagavad Gita helped me in my corporate life, entrepreneurial life. I'll not speak too much from a devotional perspective. I'm talking more from a practical working life perspective. I will share whatever my thoughts are, and I hope they inspire you in some way. But open to questions at the end also. So thank you again for the opportunity. So I'll start with a story. Okay, so there was this boy who used to he was a bit of a loser, as they call in school. And in school, people used to keep bullying him. They used to tease him on his name. They used to tease him on his appearance because he was very thin and like bag of bones, not very good looking. People he called his friends. They only would insult and humiliate him very often. He felt that they were friends, but they would insult him, humiliate him because he didn't know better. He still called them friends. He's very gullible. Once what happened was this boy uh, in his building, he was playing a game with all the other kids in the building, and they started playing one particular game where you hold the boy from behind, come from behind him, hold him like this, and lift him, and in a particular way, if you're lifted, then you actually lose consciousness. So I tried it, and I actually blacked out for a few seconds. So this boy, he did it, he believed it, and he was like very amazed. A few days later, the building children, they decided to have another game, and this time they told this boy that today we are going to do a game of hypnosis. So in this game, what you do is you sit on your haunches, like a frog. Sit on your haunches like a frog, with your tongue hanging out. And the boy was sitting at the entrance of the building on his haunches with his tongue hanging out and his eyes closed for a good 10-15 minutes. And people were walking into the building, out of the building, and seeing this boy all through. So everyone made, after 15 minutes, practically one person came, felt pity on that boy, lifted him up, and told him, "Boss, these guys are making fun of you. Don't you even understand?" So you can imagine this whole situation made this boy feel like vermin, right? Felt like a worm after the whole thing happened. And that boy was me. Okay, so a very humiliating experience, lot of lot of difficulties from that standpoint in terms of interacting with people. I was not the most let's say outgoing personality. I was a very introvert. I was not confident in interacting with people. I would feel everyone will make fun of me. But believe me, no matter how bad your start in life may be, if you try, there is always another way out. There's always a way to bounce back. So what I decided to do was, after my 10th standard was over, my school was over, I decided to take a course in effective public speaking. So I did a course from this Indo-American Institute, and that course was so good that I came out of it feeling, hey, I'm not that bad a guy after all. I was quite confident. I started interacting with people who were my batchmates in that course, and they didn't have any hang-ups. They didn't know me as I was in school. It was a changed environment, and therefore there were absolutely no hang-ups. I was very confident. So moment I finished this course, I joined junior college and I took off from there. But the full confidence did not come. After that, I was fortunate enough to get into ICT, which is just at that time called UDCT. Now you can imagine UDCT. I was surrounded by people who were geniuses. All the people who were in my class were all merit rankers, uh, toppers from various state boards, from Maharashtra State Board, Mumbai University, absolute the cream of the cream. And I was amongst them. I was like a little lower, and you can imagine the situation, right? I practically developed an inferiority complex there too, because I would often see, that topic that's being taught by a professor, and when that professor is teaching that topic, suddenly, some question he will ask, and everyone in the class is straining their hands, desperately raising their hands. I want to answer. I want to answer. And I'm like, hiding somewhere. I hope he doesn't ask me the question. So it was quite again a heavy experience, because I felt that, yeah, this is not for me, and I was always very afraid. I spent those 4 years. Of course, I got through fairly well. I managed to get decent marks, but it was fairly clear to me that this is not my cup of tea. This is not what I am made for. If you ask me, my only gain from UDCT in those 4 years is I got a wonderful wife. My wife is also from UDCT, so I met her over there. So that is my main advantage or gain from UDCT. And then somewhere there, I decided that I'll not continue in this line, chemical engineering, though it was a fantastic line, very deep, very broad. But I realized that I don't think I'll be able to really succeed in this, make a career out of it. So I decided to go for an MBA, and I was again fortunate to get into a good college, and I took to this process of Krishna consciousness during my MBA days. So in my final, I think it was my final semester in Jamnalal Bajaj. That's when I, got serious about Krishna consciousness. Of course, I was connected to bhakti almost 4.5 years before that, but I never took it seriously. But in my final year in MBA, I took it, and my spiritual career, if I may call it that, my spiritual career started in 1997 after I attended the 6-day course on the Bhagavad Gita, just conducted by ISKCON, and the speaker was His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu. So when I attended this course, that was the turning point for me, because from that point onwards, uh, I realized how magical the Bhagavad Gita is. It is not an ordinary book which, okay, it was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna some 5,000 years back. Maybe it was spoken, maybe it wasn't. There are so many doubts so many people may have in their mind. But this is very clear. Someone who really picks up the book and reads it, or attends a course from a bona fide source, which is giving the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, definitely you will realize that it is magical. Bhagavad Gita is magic. I remember for many years people used to say that, if you have any problem in life, just open the Bhagavad Gita, any page, just open any page, and you will find something there. You'll find an answer there. So, I don't know how many of you have tried it. I have tried it once or twice. Sometimes it works, sometimes it may not, but it is definitely a magical book, because any question that you may have about your material life or your spiritual life, either ways there is an answer. There will be a verse available in the Gita to answer it. So in that sense, it is magical. It answered all my questions. It also answered those questions which I hadn't even thought of. So uh, most of us, right? Majority of us, when we are young and impressionable, uh, we form our opinions about life. We form our ideas that what is good, what is not good. We have so many thoughts, so many concepts in our mind. But really, spirituality is something that most youngsters stay away from. We are very studiously stay away from any spiritual topic. If anyone talks about spirituality, immediately people tend to brand them. Are ye to sadhu hai. Are tu to Baba Ji Maharaj hai. They will try to brand that person and make that person feel so guilty about the fact that he's trying to follow a spiritual path. Therefore, nobody really ever comes out into open. No one ever discusses philosophy. Forget about philosophy. No one discusses even God. It doesn't even come into the picture. So the Gita, it answered questions that I had, and also answered questions that I had never even thought of. Very wonderful. Now, for people of my generation, till that point, Bhagavad Gita was only seen in the movies. In the movies, you would see it in the quotes, that गीता पे हाथ रख के कहता हूँ जो भी कहूंगा सच कहूंगा सच के सिवा कुछ नहीं कहूंगा. And this is all we used to hear about the Gita. There was nothing else to hear. But in fact, apparently after some years, even that was stopped. In courts in 1970 itself, apparently they stopped, swearing on the Bhagavad Gita, and people can just say that I speak the whole truth or whatever like that. So the Bhagavad Gita has not really been in our, let's say, frame of reference, okay, for many years. But from the time that I was fortunate enough to come in touch with it, I realized that this is one scripture that is very practical. Why is it practical? Because the Bhagavad Gita actually it speaks about the experience of a person like Arjuna. Now, Arjuna is a person who was a warrior. He was a father. He was a Kshatriya. He was a king. He was a son. I mean, he had all these duties to perform, and like you and me, I mean, he was like any one of us. Only he was a very special soul, very special soul, very powerful warrior, very great devotee of Krishna. But when he was faced with the most difficult challenge of his life, a kind of challenge in which damned if you do, damned if you don't. If I fight this battle and I defeat I defeat the Kauravas, I'll have to do it only by killing people like Bhishma and Drona, who I worship. I worship their lotus feet. There's no way I can kill them. But if I don't kill them, then again, what will I go back and tell Draupadi? I have promised that I will kill all these people, and what will I go back and do? So I mean, as they call Dharm Sankat, doesn't know whether he should fight or not fight. And in this situation, this kind of a challenge, Krishna, who is with Arjuna at the battlefield, he actually guides him. The Bhagavad Gita, therefore, is a very practical scripture which gives the reader or the listener a very practical understanding of all the topics that are needed for one to solve challenges in life. It is not some exotic, topic which is not meant for ordinary people. It's only meant for the exalted souls. It's only meant for the sadhus. It's only meant for the priestly class. No, Bhagavad Gita is meant for you and me. It's meant for all of us, for students, for career people, for entrepreneurs, for housewives, for workers, for everybody. There is no exception. And the principles that are spoken in the Bhagavad Gita are universal and they're eternal. So it is not that when Krishna says Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantar prapte dhiras tatra namuyati. When he says this, that as the soul passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, after this body it passes into another body. Now this principle, it is not that it applies to only the Indians. It applies only to the Hindus. It applies only to those who have studied it. No, the principle applies to everybody. It's universal. Similarly, the principles taught in Bhagavad Gita are eternal. It's not like this was true 5,000 years ago. 5,000 साल पहले ये सही था, but अभी नहीं है. No, whatever is spoken in the Gita, because it is coming from the mouth of the Supreme Lord Himself, it's coming from Krishna. Therefore, it is a Paurusheya. It is not spoken by any human being, who is bound by time, place, and circumstance. What Krishna speaks is eternal. It is always true. It is the absolute truth. Therefore, it's very important for us to understand that this Bhagavad Gita, it is a very practical scripture which is eternally applicable. Its principles are universal in nature. So there are five basic truths that the Gita speaks about. I'll very quickly touch upon these, and then we'll jump into some more, topics about how the Bhagavad Gita can apply to our life, our working life, for example. So the Bhagavad Gita has five basic topics. It's called Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and Kala. So Srila Prabhupada says in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, I quote, from Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, how it is controlled by time, and what are the activities of the living entity. So these are the five topics of the main topics of the Bhagavad Gita. that is Ishwar. It speaks about who is the supreme personality of world, who is God, what is his greatness. We say God is great. If someone sometimes, just colloquially we use this statement. Someone says something to you, oh, God is great, God is great. But we don't know really how great God is. We have no clue. But by reading the Gita, we start to get an idea. We don't get the complete idea, but we get some sort of an idea that, okay, this is how great God really is. Then Jiva is the spiritual living entity, all of us. We are not this body, we are the soul. So the Gita gives elaborate instructions about how we are not this body, but we are the eternal living entity, eternal soul, which resides in this body as per the karma, as per the desires of our previous lives. Then it speaks about Prakriti, which is material nature, which we see all around us. Whatever we see in this material world is coming from material nature. The material nature is the one that arranges everything, that organizes, all the different species, that ensures that food is available, air is available, everything is organized by material nature. And then there is Kala, the influence of time. Everybody is influenced by time. I mean, I am remembering my time in UD City and Jamnal Bajaj, which is like now 25 years back. And, the hair has turned white. Everybody ages. There is no exception to this rule. Time acts on everybody. And then there is a concept of karma. Karma, what is the activity of the living entity and how they are impacted by it. So these are the five primary topics of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, as far as Ishvara is concerned, the Supreme Lord Krishna himself declares in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam dudha bhava samanvita. He says that Aham sarvasya prabhavo, I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. He is declaring it, right? Matta sarvam pravartate, everything emanates from me. Iti matva bhajante mam, one who knows this worships me with his heart. In 7.7, he says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. So he's saying that I am the source and the absolute truth, supreme absolute truth. There is no truth superior to me, right? And everything rests on me. So very clearly in the Gita, in various places, Krishna makes these statements where he is very humbly but very straightforward. He is declaring that he is the supreme Lord and the cause of all causes. So we may think that, oh, he's the supreme Lord, he's God, he's sitting there somewhere very powerful, he's not interested. But no, in the Gita, Krishna also says that he is personally involved in our lives. That as one approaches me, I reciprocate accordingly, Krishna says in the Gita. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So as one approaches me, I also reciprocate accordingly. He's personally involved in our lives. If we look carefully, we will see that Krishna's hand is there in everything. Make a note of this point, that it is like this, that if you sometimes don't notice something, then you just don't notice it. But once you notice it, then suddenly you start seeing it everywhere. Like you might have seen this, sometimes you meet somebody in your college. Of course, today colleges are all closed. You don't really end up meeting too many people, but you may have remembered from your previous experience from your college or from your office. You meet somebody who's in a big office or a big college, big university. You meet somebody introduces you, hey, this is my friend Ramesh. Now, when you meet Ramesh, you know, you might have seen Ramesh like 100 times before that, but you never really noticed Ramesh. You never really saw him. But somebody introduced to say, hey, this is my friend Ramesh. And so, okay, hi Ramesh, nice to meet you. Suddenly after that, you will notice, you will keep seeing Ramesh everywhere. This is how it works, isn't it? I mean, you would have seen this, that you suddenly start seeing Ramesh everywhere. Like if you see, you look outside your window, and you look at all the buildings around. You may see buildings, you may see some birds flying, you may see some trees if you're lucky, right? But if you carefully note, suddenly you may notice that there are these cable wires, cable TV wires, which are going from one building to another building to another building to another. So I also, once I noticed this, Then after that, I saw that there are cable TV wires everywhere. Till that point, I had not noticed it. But once I saw it, I saw that was every building is covered with this. In the same way, we don't notice that Krishna is personally present in our lives. But if we actually once observe, we can see the hand of Krishna in our life. After that, we will be able to see him everywhere. In the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in various places, Krishna gives many, many indications of how he is present, how we can see him in the taste of water, how we can feel him in the fragrance of the earth, how we can experience him in the sun, in the moon, various places. So we can see Krishna in the hand of everything. Personally, I have seen many times Krishna's hand in my life. I remember whenever I used to appear for interviews, like sometimes you appear for an interview, you're working in a particular company, you're not very happy, and you want to change your job. I used to appear for interviews, and when I went for the interview, I would see that suddenly एक ही साथ दो companies के आते हैं. These interviews, they normally don't come like one at a time. I get one interview and at the same time another one comes. So Krishna also sometimes tests us. He puts us into a dharma sankat. ये करोगे कि वो करोगे कि यहीं की जहाँ पे हो वहीं पे रहोगे. So I used to always go before Shri Radha Gopinath and I would pray that, let me get this, I would do my own analysis of which company I want to join, which one looks attractive and everything. But then after that, I would pray to the Lord. I would go and stand in front of Gopinath and I would pray, my Lord, whatever is your desire, I want, this job, but let me get it only if it helps me in my spiritual life. Because see, materially, whatever job you get, 19-20, here or there, it's not going to make a big difference. Maybe your salary will increase, maybe your role will increase. But mota mota wahi hai, wahi ghisna hai, subah, subah sham. It's not going to be very different. But if you get into the wrong kind of job where your consciousness is completely destroyed, that is a bigger damage to you. So I would always pray to the Lord that, my Lord, let me get into a job where at least spiritually I am okay. So I've seen that Krishna gives me the intelligence to take the right, decisions in life. And the Gita Krishna says this in 10.10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogantam ye namam upayantite. So Krishna says in the Gita that for one who worships me sincerely, continuously, without a break, I give them the intelligence of how they can come to me. So Krishna has actually reciprocated like this with so many devotees. Many devotees have felt this in their life, that whenever they have to take important decisions in their career, in their business, should I get into this new business? Should I take this new job? Should I accept this promotion? What do I do with this person? What do I do with that person? Difficult decisions. Take shelter of Gita, take shelter of the Lord. Immediately you can feel his reciprocation. Another important aspect of the Bhagavad Gita, it helps us to understand the nature of people, because uh, when you're working in a corporate, you come across all kinds of people. We meet people who are very intelligent. We meet people who are very lazy. We meet people who are extremely hardworking, very industrious. We come across people who are lazy but intelligent, hardworking but dull. So many combinations of people we come across. So the Bhagavad Gita explains to us in explicit detail that how the three modes of material nature, that is sattva gun, rajo gun and tamo gun, these three modes of material nature, they are everywhere. They are in everything. We may not have noticed it, but now after reading the Gita, everything becomes very clear. Three modes of material nature are there in everything. They describe to us. So in the 17th and 18th chapter, if you read, it talks about food in the mode of goodness. It talks about sacrifice, austerities, determination, happiness, work. Karma, the person who works, what is his work in the mode of goodness? A person in the mode of goodness, how does he work? A person in the mode of passion, how does she work? How a person in the mode of ignorance, how does he work? So very clear descriptions are given, and if we read it, we can understand nature of people. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita, most importantly, it teaches us about God, it teaches us about the nature of people, it teaches us about karma, about kala, about prakriti. But Most importantly, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us the goal of life and how to get to it. What is the goal of life? What should be the goal of my life? Shall I be happy that I became, a chief executive officer of XYZ company, or I founded two startups which became unicorns, or I became a SVP in a large company like Salesforce.com, or whatever it is, right? What is the goal of life? What is important? So the Gita teaches us what is the main goal of life, and more importantly, how to get to it while performing all the duties that you may have. You may have a duty, you're a worker, you're a son, you're a brother, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a grandfather, whatever it is. How to get to the goal of your life while performing all your duties in the right consciousness. There is a misconception. A lot of people, if you ask them, Bhagavad Gita कुछ मालूम है? हाँ हाँ, Bhagavad Gita मतलब कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते, कर्म किए जाओ, कर्म किए जाओ. So if the Bhagavad Gita was just कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते, then why would it have 700 verses? इतना fight क्यों मारा भगवान ने? The reason is because it is not just about keep working, keep working, keep working. There is a whole lot of subtlety to it. It's all about the consciousness in which you have to work. Why are you working? For whom are you working? What is your thought process? What is your consciousness? What is your objective in life? All these things are very important, and the Gita gives us that knowledge. So when we are working in corporate life, one may think that, I I have started working in corporate life. Prabhu, I am interested in doing well in my job. I've started a business. I'm very interested in doing my business well. And, I'm not very sure. Should I be ambitious? Should I work, like a donkey? Both mehnat karu ki nahi karu? So these questions sometimes come in our mind. So I thought I'll just spend a few minutes to talk about this topic, that what is the place for ambition in our Krishna consciousness, in spiritual life, and how to channel it, right? Because my experience has been, if a person is not ambitious, they cannot, succeed much in corporate life or in entrepreneurial life. You have to be ambitious. But then, if you're ambitious, one starts feeling that, will it make me very materialistic? Is it sanctioned by the Gita? Is it sanctioned by scriptures? Do devotees frown down upon someone who's very ambitious? Nothing like that. If you see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he does not tell Arjuna to, hey, boss, just yeah, oh, you're not feeling like fighting. I agree with you. Let's make it very easy. I have the Sudarshan Chakra. I'll just release the Sudarshan Chakra. Let's finish off all these people in one go. Kaam khatam. Let's go and do some nice Harikatha somewhere. No. Krishna tells Arjuna to fight. He is pushing Arjuna very hard. If you see in the Gita, various places, at the start when Arjuna comes to Krishna with tears in his eyes, he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava ichchami tvam dharma sammuda cheta yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. He says that I am now your disciple. I am a soul surrendered unto you, my Lord. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should fight or should I, just give up my battle. I don't know what to do, my Lord. Please instruct me. Now I am no longer your friend. ये सब friendly talk खत्म हो गया अभी. अभी मैं आपका शिष्य हूँ. शिष्यस्ते हम. I am your disciple. Now you instruct me like a guru. Tell me what to do. But before this, Krishna has told him that you're talking like a eunuch. He's insulted him. So Krishna is coming very hard on Arjuna. He's not telling him that, oh, take it easy, it's okay, I'll take care, it's okay. You don't fight, I'll still find somebody. No, he's pushing him. It's your duty, you should fight. So in the 2.37, he says, Hato va prapsasi swargam jitva va bokshase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. He says, either you will be killed on the battlefield. So as a Kshatriya, it is said that as a Kshatriya, a person who dies on the battlefield. Similarly, we say that if a soldier who's fighting on the battlefield dies, he goes to heaven. How is this coming? This is coming from scriptures. So Krishna is saying that hatova prapsyasi swargam, that if you die in this battlefield, fight Arjuna. You're a kshatriya, you have to fight. You have to do your duty. So if you fight and you die, you don't win. You will get the heavenly planets. And jitvava, he says, bhokshase mahim. You will win the entire earth planet. You will have dominion over all the kings by just winning this battle. So दोनों तरफ, as they say, both sides of your bread are buttered. दोनों उंगली, पांचों उंगलियां घी में है. So he's telling him, therefore get up with determination and fight. He is not telling him to take it easy. He's telling him to fight. And fight means how? How did Arjuna fight? He fought like there was no tomorrow. He fought with great vigor. He fought with great force. He fought continuously, relentlessly. That is what Krishna wants us to do. He doesn't want us to just sit back and relax and become useless. No. We have a wonderful opportunity as grihasthas, as people who are not joining, a priestly life, those who are living like, the rest of society. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to contribute to society through a job, through a business, contribute to our families, and at the same time be very, very God conscious. Right? It's a wonderful opportunity. And how does Krishna want us to do it? In what way does he want us to focus? He says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. So Krishna says in the Gita in 2.41, those who are on this path, right? Those who are on this path, they are resolute in purpose. That means they are very resolute. They have decided कि यार मेरे को ये करना है. I want to be successful. Now we will come to what is the meaning of success, what is the consciousness we have to have. But that determination is needed. Unless I have determination, nothing gets done. If someone just sits on the bank of a river thinking, yeah, it would be nice, if there's a bridge across this river. रोज रोज ये बोट वाले के लिए वेट करना, उसके पांव पकड़ना, यार 10 रुपए में लेके जा, वो बोल रहा है 20 रुपया. ये कितना मरमर है यार, ये बहुत तकलीफ है ये. Why not? There's a bridge over here. If there'll be a bridge, it'd be so nice. Just walk across. It's not so far actually. It's a wonderful walk. But just thinking like that, nothing happens. You have to take action. Then only the bridge can come up, right? So resolute in purpose. People who are on this path are resolute in purpose. Ekeha Kurunandan. Their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So those who are resolute in purpose, their aim is one. They're very focused. Like Arjuna, that story of Arjuna, how when he was asked to shoot the parrot, all the Pandavas and Kauravas were asked to shoot the eye of the parrot by Dronacharya. All of them were coming up like Yudhishthir was asked, "What do you see?" He says, "I see the parrot. I see the parrot's eye. What else do you see?" I see the branch." So he's very honest. So you're saying, "I see the branch. I see everything." Then when Duryodhana's turn came, he started showing off. I see the branch, I see, I see the parrot, I see all of you, I see you also, Gurudev. So full on, boasting. But then when he asked Arjuna, what do you see? Arjuna says, I see the eye of the parrot, Gurudev. He says, what else do you see? He says, I don't see anything else. I can only see the eye of the parrot. He says, you don't see me? You don't see all your brothers? He says, no, I don't. What about the tree? He says, I don't see the tree. What about the parrot? I don't see the parrot. What can you see? I can only see the eye of the parrot. So now you shoot. Right? So that is what is Ekeha Kurunandana. If you're very determined, you're very ambitious, we're very clear, this is what I want to achieve, and we're very, very focused on it. That is actually good. Right? So whether there is no harm in being ambitious as long as we are working for Krishna. And this is very important. Here is where the distinction comes. See, if I am being ambitious only for myself, hey, I want to get a promotion. I want to go from manager to senior manager to general manager to deputy director, director to whatever, executive director to CEO, CMD of the company. I want to grow and grow and grow. And it's all about you. Then The laws of karma apply to us, we get implicated in that. But if our ambition is for Krishna, we are working for Krishna. You're not working, don't think you're working for any boss, you're working for anybody else. You're working for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's asking us to do it. In the Gita, he says that. Work for me. Do for me. Do whatever you do. Yat karoshi, yat asnashi, yat joshi, dadasi yat tapasyasi kauntiya, tat purusva mad arpanam. He says, do it for me. Krishna says this with so much, so much passion. He's saying, do whatever you do what you're doing, but do it for me. So when we work like this, how much more ambitious we would be. Just think. Now, for example, if you're working for some nasty boss, and many of us have experience of that, unfortunately, of working for nasty bosses. You're working for a nasty boss, even if they tell you to do something, you don't feel really motivated to do it. You may do it because it's a job, you will be sacked if you don't do it, but you don't feel terribly motivated. But if we are working for Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is the provider of everything, He has given me this body, He has given me earth, fire, water, air. The water on this land is coming from Him. This tongue, this ears with which I'm hearing, tongue with which I'm speaking has come from the Lord. Everything is coming from God. How much more we should be grateful to Him. Such a merciful Lord. How much I will want to work for Him well. You're working for a good boss, you work better. You work for a very good boss, you work very nicely. If you're working for Krishna directly, how much better you would work. How much more ambitious you'll be. My Lord, I want to do this for you. So when Yudhishthir, when he became the king, he fought, he did this Rajasuya Yagya for whom? Not for global dominion, not because he wanted to be a global Chhatrapati. No, he did this to glorify the Lord, because he thought that if I do Rajasuya Yagya, I can invite Krishna and I can make him the main recipient of the worship. So this is the consciousness of a devotee, that let me do something great for Krishna. I don't want to do ordinary stuff. I want to do something fantastic, right? So how much more ambitious? So whether as a job or a business, whether you're doing a job or you have started your own business, ambition is good. Ambition followed by planning, followed by focused, relentless execution is essential. I'm sorry, I'm moving away from the Gita here, but it is important for us to understand that whatever duties you may have, whether they are as a worker in a company, a manager in a company, a leader, VP, whatever in a company, or you're working as as an entrepreneur, or as a husband, or as a wife, or as a son or a father, whatever it is, whatever the duty you're doing, these things apply. We must be ambitious, we must plan, and we must have focused execution. Only difference is, as a devotee, we have a broader picture. Whom am I doing this for? Am I doing this for my own, self-aggrandizement? Do I want to become glorious by this? Do I want to become famous? Hey, look at this guy, how much he's gone up the corporate ladder. Nahi chahiye, Baba. We want to do it for Krishna. We want to give our best with one pointed determination. Ekeha Kurunandana. Right? Whatever we're doing, we will do to the best of our ability for Krishna with great determination. Right? So Krishna says, do what you're doing, do your job, do your business, do it for me, do it for Krishna, and thinking about him. In 8 points, he says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, Bhagavad Gita 8.7, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. So the Gita teaches us how to work. That you do your work, Baba. काम करो, अपना जॉब में काम करो, मेहनत करो, जो करना है करो. लेकिन माम अनुस्मर युध्यच. Think of Krishna before you go to your office. Worship the Lord in your heart. Worship the Lord through chanting. Worship the Lord of your deities, whatever way, right? Perform your sadhana, your offering of service for the Lord. Do that and remember Krishna and work. So if we do that sincerely, then whatever work we are doing, it does not have any good or bad karma attached to it, right? This concept of a karma, if you do good karma, you get good reaction. You do bad karma, you get bad reaction. But a karma is that quality of work where there is no reaction. Meaning at the end of our life, if there is no karma left, then we can be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam. Again and again, we'll be stuck up in the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. Again and again. But if we work for Krishna very sincerely, do our best for Krishna with all planning and all ambition, but without attachment to the results. Don't be attached. We'll be coming to that soon. Don't be attached to result, because the result is anyway not in our hands. We can do our best. We can show our, like for example, sometimes we can, we work on certain projects that are doomed projects. We work on certain assignments which we know पहले से ही अपने को मालूम है कि ये होने वाला नहीं है. This is not going to be successful. We know it. But still, because boss ने कहा है तो करना पड़ेगा, क्या choice? चलो कर लेते हैं, right? But just the fact that knowing that this might not succeed, if you put your full effort in it and work equally sincerely in it, what does it do for you, for your career? Somebody in the organization notices that this guy is a, chikati आदमी है, छोड़ेगा नहीं, ये fight मारेगा, he will try his best, no matter what the job given to him is, he is willing to put his best. So persons, your managers or your bosses or your leaders will notice this, right? So result may not be in our hands. Result is never in our hands. Result is awarded by Daiva, by the Supreme Lord. But we have to show our effort. We have to be the scalpel in the hands of the expert surgeon. Destiny is going to get things done. In 11.33, Bhagavad Gita 11.33, Krishna says, Maya vaite nihata purvam eva nimitta matra bhava savyasachi. So he's telling Arjuna that Maya vaite nihata purvam eva. I have already killed all these people. In the 11th chapter of the Gita, Krishna shows his universal form. It's a fantastic description. If you get time, please take a look at the translations, read the book. So if you read that, you understand what a fantastic form it is, this universal form. And in that universal form, Arjuna is able to see that all the Kaurava army, the entire warriors are entering into the mouth of this universal form, and all of them are going to die. And Krishna declares it also, that all these people are going to be killed anyway. I have already killed them, it's done. Nimitta matra bhava savisachi. You just be an instrument in my hands. Let my be done. Let my will be done. And that is the mood of a devotee. When Jesus says this, thy will be done. My Lord, whatever your will is, that will be done. So what we can do, we have to do our best. Be like a good scalpel in the hand of the surgeon. Surgeon will get things done from you. If you are sincere, the best results will come out of you. But we have to give our best. Now, when we are doing this, when we are working like this, now I'll tell you about my own personal, I'll give you some stories from my own personal life. That when I was working like this, I was trying to live this life that I learned. I was fortunate, like I said, during my MBA days, I got in touch with the devotees. I heard the Bhagavad Gita. I tried to start following some principles from it. But as you can imagine, for you to catch an equilibrium, for you to catch a particular rhythm in your in your working life, in your family life, in your career, in your spiritual career also, it takes some time. I remember one of the companies that I was working for, I was struggling very hard. I will not name obviously, but I was struggling very, very hard, and I tried my best. But at the same time, at that time, I was a very kattar devotee also. I used to go to office wearing tilak, and I was like, I used to preach to everybody, and I was a miserable failure, right? In that, whatever less than 1 year I spent in that company, I was a miserable failure. I was just not able to meet my targets. I was not able to make a good impression on my boss. My boss also didn't like me. he started, feeling कि यार ये क्या अपने आप को क्या समझता है, ये हरे कृष्णा वाले अपने आप को क्या समझते हैं, what do they think of themselves, they have a chip on their shoulder, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह, so many things started happening. It became very uncomfortable for me to continue in that company. So I learned a lesson. It came to a point where I realized that, boss, now any moment the axe is going to fall on me, I'm going to be sacked. So I started desperately looking out for a job. And when I was looking out for a job, I appeared for interviews for like 8, 10 companies. And then finally, one company selected me. Very big company, very nice company. But, the day I got my offer letter, that day I went to meet my boss. I went to meet my boss in his cabin. And he told me, hey, it's that good you came here. I also wanted to talk to you. मैं बोला क्या हुआ sir? He said, it's not working out. Those famous words. Whenever someone says that, that gaya mera naukri, right? It's not working out. The moment he said this, luckily by Krishna's grace, I was already having an offer letter in my hand. I said, yeah, I know. Even I came to tell you the same thing, sir. It's not working out. Maybe better I leave, right? So I decided to leave. And when I left, before I left, my boss, he gave me this instruction. He said that, see, Siddharth, you're a great guy. Very hardworking, very sincere, very intelligent. यार तू कोई भी काम कर सकता है. You can do any work, but तू sales मत कर. ये तेरी बस की बात नहीं. You can't do it, right? They're very crushing for me. I mean, it came from my boss. He told me that you can't do this. But somehow, I the next company that I joined, I took it as a challenge. That okay, this guy feels I can't do it. Let me prove it to him. And then I joined this company, and I worked hard. And by again, I changed my focus. Right? I changed my focus in life. I decided that I can't say that okay because I'm a devotee, मैं थोड़ा कम काम किया तो भी चलता है. नहीं चलता है. When you're working for a company, otherwise don't work. Don't work for a company. If you're working for a company, you have to do your best. That's what Krishna wants you to do. Be determined, stand up and fight. That's what Krishna tells Arjuna. So I also decided I will also be determined. I will also stand up and fight. I started working very hard. For the first 3, 4 years, 2005, 6, 7, and 8, for those first 3, 4 years in this company, I was working for SAP. For 4 years, I had a fantastic run. Everything that I touched turned to gold. It was a fantastic run. I was very successful. But then I realized after 2008, 2009 was when the recession happened. After 2009, I was doing the same things. I was working very hard. I was very focused. I was very ambitious. I was working my head off. I was doing everything I could do to succeed. But same Siddharth, same hard work, same determination, same ambition, same focus. I was not so successful. In 2012, I was actually in very big trouble. So I realized that it is not just your effort and your ambition and your desire. There is other things also at work. It is karma. Your destiny is also working on you. Your destiny decides your current success or failures due to the influence of your previous karma and time. So the time, material nature, they decide that based on your previous karma, how much success you're going to get at this point of time in your life, how much failure you're going to get. And you may try your best, you may do everything. Sometimes you do everything, but still you fail. Sometimes you don't really work that hard, उतना fight नहीं मारा, but फिर भी success आ जाता है. What do you think? The MBAs, all the MBAs who come out of, let's say IIM Ahmedabad, or who come out of, let's say, Jamnalal Bajaj College, or who come out of any other MBA college, all of them have the same stars in their eyes. All of them think that, yaar, मैं जाके सारी दुनिया को मुट्ठी में कर लूंगा. All of them have the desire to start their own startups. How many succeed? If it was true that it is only ambition, intelligence, and hard work, everyone would be successful. Everyone is not successful. So the Gita teaches us that understand that matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama apayano nityas tamstitikshasu bharata. The first instruction that Krishna gives in the Gita. See, from 2.11 onwards, Krishna starts speaking. He starts speaking about the soul. He tells Arjuna that you're lamenting for that which is not worthy of grief. You're not this body, you're the soul, the eternal soul. You're not this body. None of these kings will reside after some time. Their bodies will be finished, but the soul is eternal. He's talking about the nature of the soul. And then suddenly he gives this instruction Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha. He says that this happiness and distress, they are like the coming and going of the summer and winter seasons. They arise out of sense perception. Happiness and distress arise out of sense perception. They are temporary. Like happiness comes on of its, happiness, like misery comes of its own accord. Nobody goes searching कि यार आज मेरे को मिजरी कहाँ से मिलेगा, कुछ तो मिजरी आना चाहिए मेरे लाइफ में. कोई जाता है क्या, कोई फाइट मारता है क्या कि यार मेरे को मिजरी चाहिए, कहाँ मिलेगा, कोई नहीं जाता. Nobody tries for misery, but it comes, it finds you. In the same way, good karma also finds you. So don't be disturbed. The first instruction that Krishna is telling Arjuna, he is not telling Arjuna that, oh, you are surrendered to me, na? You are asking me as a disciple, na? अब चिंता मत कर, मैं सब देख लेगा, तेरा लाइफ सेट हो गया अभी इसके बाद. No. He is telling him that, Baba, misery and happiness will keep coming and going. Like winter comes, then summer comes, then again winter comes, again summer comes. Same way, happiness will come, distress will come. He's not saying that because you are my devotee now, everything will be fine. On the contrary, he says, tolerate. Learn to tolerate. So the Gita teaches us very important, the first instruction that Krishna gives in the Gita, very relevant for corporate life, tolerate. You may do your best, you may put all efforts, you may still not succeed. Or sometimes you may succeed. He says tolerate that also. It's very easy to understand tolerating failure, tolerating success. Yes, tolerate your success also. Don't become proud. Don't become puffed up that, yes, I made it. Now I will show all these people, ये लोग सबके पैर सर पे पैर रख के मैं ऊपर चला गया. Now मैं सबको ठीक करूंगा. No. Tolerate your success also. Be equipoised. In 2.38 he says, Sukhe dukhe same kitva labha labho jaya jayo. Sukhe dukhe, in happiness, in misery. Same kritva. Be equipoised. Perform the same duty with the same enthusiasm, whether you are successful, whether you are failure. Labha alabho, jaya ajayo. Whether you are getting profit or loss, whether you are getting victory or defeat, you perform your duty with all enthusiasm. What a wonderful lesson Krishna is giving. He's not telling you that, Baba, when enthusiasm rehta hai, jab when I am successful, when I am victorious, when I am getting profits, I'm very enthusiastic. No, even if you are a failure, continue with enthusiasm. Why? Because you're working for me. Because I am watching you. I am seeing the efforts you're making. Tolerate, be equipoised. Another important lesson that I learned from the Gita, again applies to our corporate life. Sometimes what happens is, you are working hard and you see somebody else is better than you. कोई मेरे से सेल्स में अच्छा है, कोई मेरे में कोडिंग में अच्छा है, कोई मेरे से प्रोडक्शन में अच्छा है, कोई मेरे से प्रोक्योरमेंट में अच्छा है, कोई मेरे से इसमें अच्छा है, उसमें अच्छा है, सिंगिंग में अच्छा है, डांसिंग में अच्छा है. You become very envious immediately. See, you don't feel envious of someone who is better than you in some skill which you are not interested in. Like for example, if someone is better than me in taekwondo, many of you may know what is taekwondo, many of you may not know. If someone is better than me in taekwondo, very good, yeah, all glories to you. I'm very happy about it. I don't care. तो मैं तो कभी taekwondo जिंदगी में एक पैर उठाया तो I will fall down there only, right? So I don't care. But if someone is better than me in sales, yeah, I start feeling envious. But Krishna gives a medicine for that also. In 10.41, he says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam. He says that wherever you see any vibhuti, wherever you see some gloriousness, you see some opulence, you see someone who's very good at something, Understand, this is it is my glory. He is just expressing a fragment of my glory. So even when you see someone better than you, don't become envious. Instead, understand, oh, this is some particular opulence that Krishna has given them. Krishna has given this opulence to this person so that he can perform some wonderful activity. Don't be envious, right? So a very important lesson about how to work with colleagues who are better than you. Don't envy them, work with them, learn from them, right? So this is another thing. Another example of how to handle stress. Now, if you're working in a corporate life, you're working in a in a gig, you're working in a startup, there's tremendous stress. There is tremendous stress at any. Of course, when we are early in our careers, we probably don't face so much stress. But as we go along, as you spend more and more years, in a particular career, we start feeling a lot of stress. And I was talking about my period in SAP where I could do nothing wrong. Everything was going very well. 2008, 5 to 2008, everything was going very well. But then after that, things started going downhill. Same person, same effort, but not going so well. And in 2011, somehow I had a good year. In 2012, again was a bad year. I remember there was a period where I was I was given a kind of a warning by somebody in my colleagues, some colleague in my team. So she called me and told me, tomorrow the review is with the MD of the company, right? So I used to report to the VP and VP report to MD. So skip level review. Tomorrow the review is with the MD of the company, and kuch bhi ho sakta hai, boss. So now in the Gita, like Krishna says, for one who has tasted, success, or who has tasted glorification, failure or insults are worse than death. I had tasted a lot of success in my life, in my career in SAP. I was doing very well. Now suddenly the feeling that tomorrow itself, out of the blue, I might be sacked. A very, very scary concept. I was very afraid. I was very stressful. I was very stressed out. Now, see how being a devotee, who has devotees around him. I was fortunate enough. My family is also, all devotees. My wife was with me. She saw my face and she realized something is wrong. She asked me, "What is it? You're looking very tense." So I told her, "No, nothing." She said, "No, you're very tense. Tell me, talk to me." So I told her that ऐसा हुआ है, I have been working very hard, मैं पूरा fight मार रहा हूँ, लेकिन कुछ खास हो नहीं रहा, nothing much is happening, and tomorrow review with MD is there, and looks like I may lose my job. There's a very strong possibility I'll lose my job. So she told me, I mean, see, this is where someone who is balanced, having such a balanced person in your life is also a devotee is a very important thing. She told me, okay, so if you lose your job, so what? I said, so what? Arey, job jayega. Okay, so what? If you lose your job, so what? Here is an opportunity. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That we have to do our duty. We do our duty sincerely. Do not be attached to the fruits. You have done your work. You have done your best. तूने तो fight मारा है ना, तो फिर तो क्यों चिंता कर रहा है? You have done your best. Why are you worried what's going to come? If they sack you, that is their loss. Such a sincere worker like you who has delivered for so many years, if they sack you, that is their loss. As far as you are concerned, इतनी तो तेरे में लायकी है कि तेरे को कहीं ना कहीं 3 महीने तो कहीं तो जॉब मिल जाएगा. At least in 3 months you'll get another job. Somewhere somebody will hire you. I said, yeah. तो 3 महीने में नहीं मिला तो कम से कम 6 महीने में कुछ तो मिलेगा. अच्छा, 6 महीने में तो मिलना ही चाहिए. He said, अगर नहीं मिला suppose, with all the ज्ञान that you have received over all these years, देखो कहीं ना कहीं टीचिंग का तो जॉब मिल जाएगा. हाँ, टीचिंग का तो जॉब मिलना ही चाहिए. She said, don't worry. देखो टीचिंग जॉब मिला, डोंट वरी, जितना उसमें पगार मिलता है मैं उतने में घर संभाल लूंगी, डोंट वरी, तू जा बिंदास, कुछ नहीं हो. When I heard this, मेरा छाती मतलब 3 गुना बढ़ गया. I became so confident. I said, अरे heck, I don't care. To hell with this company. If they decide to sack me, I don't care. I became so confident. I became so, that Worry, it's like a billion bricks were lifted from my head. I went next day for the review with full confidence. Guess what? I didn't get sacked. I stayed on the company for another 3 years, right? So, bhakti helps us to handle stress. Gita helps us to handle stress. Krishna also tells us in the Gita, what a beautiful statement he makes. He says that Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham what is it? Tesham Viyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. He says, do not worry. Just do what you are doing. Do it to the best of your ability, and I will take care of everything. I will carry what you lack, and I will preserve what you have. Krishna is giving such a wonderful assurance in the Gita. It's like insurance. The Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC of India, uses this statement, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. I will preserve what you have, I will carry what you lack. Krishna is giving this assurance in the Bhagavad Gita 9.22. So, what do we need to be worried about? Do your best, leave the rest to Krishna. Don't worry. Another important lesson that I learned, in the Gita, from the Gita and from whatever, from my life, when again in 2009, we had a great loss in our company. So the MD of our company, he was a great mentor. I was learning a lot from him. He had a healthy respect for what I was doing for the company. And suddenly one fine day, we were all it was in the month of October only, the same month, because I think, in fact, 19th October, if I'm not mistaken, 19th or 21st October, around that time, we were in Mayapur. And in Mayapur, what happened was, we got the news. One of my colleagues, he sent me an SMS that Ranjan passed away. So I immediately called him. Passed away, matlab kya? He said, boss, he died. I said, are you nuts? Because he was just 41 years old. I was shocked. I couldn't believe, because I said, how did he die? Kuch accident hua kya? He said, no, he had a heart attack. I couldn't believe it. It was too much. I said, kaise ho sakta hai? How is this possible? Because this person was so fit, thin, wiry guy. He used to run marathons. He was so fit. He didn't have a drinking habit. He didn't have a smoking habit. Yet, he was like a very, very fit, super intelligent guy, super guy, very nice person. Yaar, ye kaise mar sakta hai? But then I started thinking, right? Because sometimes I was devastated, definitely, because I was very close to him. But such incidents, sometimes they force you to think about life. This person, he was a brilliant guy. He had done his engineering from MIT in the US, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He had done his engineering from there. He did his MBA from Harvard. He was living in a 5 BHK flat in Pali Hill, Bandra. He was probably earning in crores and probably had crores and crores in his bank account. He had an S-class chauffeur-driven Mercedes. He had several servants in the house. His house was 5 minutes away from Leelavati Hospital. But all these things put together, his education, his job as a big shot. He was in the media all the time. He used to keep coming in interviews. He's a big shot. He was so healthy. He used to run marathons. His bank balance, his servants, his Mercedes, all these things that all of us aspire for in our lives. We all aspire for these things. All these things put together were not sufficient to get him from his house to the hospital, which is 5-10 minutes away. He died on the spot. So this was a very, earth-shaking experience, and I learned a lot from it. We learn that all the assets, all the things that we work so hard to collect in our lives, they're of no use. They're all on the bodily platform. When you die, they will all be taken away. Whilst the soul is eternal, and any progress that we make, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41, Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahatu bhayat. Whatever little progress you make on the path of bhakti, it is eternally to your credit. If you make 10% progress in bhakti in your next life, you will start from 11. Whereas you earn crores and crores of bank balance, get all kinds of degrees, become the most famous man in the world. Next life, if you are born as a human being, you will start again from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Nothing doing. You may have done PhD in this life. Again, next life you will start from scratch. Whereas in bhakti, whatever progress you make, Krishna gives the assurance in your next life. There is no diminution or loss on this path, Krishna says in 2.41. What an assurance. So what can we do? What is it that we learn from all this? We have to set an example for the world. For those of us who are fortunate enough to receive the instructions of the Gita is a practical scripture, as I've quoted so many verses which tell you day-to-day life may how the Gita gives us practical guidance. What can we do? Set an example for the world. How? By doing your duty for Krishna. Whatever you are doing, do it with great ambition, with great enthusiasm, to the best of your ability. Do it for Krishna, right? With all sincerity. And if you do it like that, you do your duty with ambition, with sincerity, the best of your ability, the world will follow. Again, 3.21, Krishna says, Yadyad achariti shreshtas tattad evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. So he says that if the example that great men create, common men follow. If you sincerely work, do good work in your job, do good work in your career, do good work as a husband, do good work as a parent, do your duties nicely, the world will follow you. But if you are a Krishna conscious devotee, but you're not doing your job properly, what use is that? That is not glorification for Krishna, because people will say, hey, these Hare Krishnas are all useless, right? So we have to do the best of our activity. So to, just to summarize, the process of performing our karma and bhakti goes like this, right? First, in order to act, we need inspiration. Where do we get that inspiration from? We get it from scriptures. We get it from Guru. We get it from the devotees. So get some inspiration. Then only we will be able to do our work for Krishna. Otherwise, we will be only working for ourselves, for our own selfish interests. So do it for Krishna. To do that, get that inspiration, take shelter of scripture, take shelter of Guru, take shelter of devotees. Second, now when you take shelter like this, by reading scripture, by taking shelter, we understand that we are not the doer. We just do our best for Krishna, and then everything else will conspire to make it happen. If the Lord desires, we have to do our best. After the act is done, we should not be attached to the fruits, to the end result. Do your best. Karmanye ma adhikaraste. Ma phaleshu kadachan. Ma means no. Don't be attached to the results. They are not for you. Right? Whatever comes, gratefully accept it as the grace of the Lord and offer it back to the Lord. We use those fruits then in the Lord's service. This is what is karma yoga. This is what is perfection. So I will just share one presentation with you. Just give me a second. Just summarizing the verses that we have discussed. You can take screenshots if you wish, so that you're able to make a note. So we discussed, and I have now reorganized these verses in some sort of a sequence so that we can think about how we can use the Bhagavad Gita as a, what is the word they use nowadays? In startups, we say there is a particular book, they call it rule book or something like that, right? So, how can I use the Bhagavad Gita as a book which I can use in my life? It starts from the first 10.8, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. The message for us, Krishna is the Supreme Lord and source of everything. The intelligent person understands this, worships him with all his heart. Matta Parataram Nanya. There is no truth superior to Krishna. Everything rests on him. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, we agreed that be resolute in your purpose, be focused, one-pointed determination. Hato va prapsisi swargam. Perform your duty with determination for Krishna. You will win regardless of the outcome. Whether you succeed or you fail, if you work for Krishna, you are successful. Right? Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Perform your duty, prescribed duty. Don't be attached to the results. Do your duty for Krishna while remembering him. Right? Very important. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. This is a very important verse for all working people in the in the corporate life. Very important verse. Then 11.33. Nimitta matra bhava savisachi. Destiny will play its role by the will of the Lord. Whatever has to happen will happen. What can we do? Be an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Krishna carries what we lack, preserves what we have for his ananya devotee, ananya chintayanto mam. Ananya means very focused. I will only do what I do for Krishna. Right? So don't worry. Be happy. Sukhe dukkhe samay kritva. Be equipoised in happiness or sorrow, profit or gain, victory or defeat. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. So now that I have done my job, I'm talking about all the results that can come, right? So look at all the messages there. That do your destiny, do your work, destiny will happen. Be an instrument in the hand of the Lord. Don't worry, Krishna has given his assurance. He's telling you be equipoised. Sometimes happiness will come, sometimes sorrow will come. There are two sides of the coin. Learn to tolerate. And then the kicker, then the benefit, the Shruti Fal says, if we perform Desham Satatayuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Tadami Buddhiyagam Tam Yenamam Upayantite. If we perform uninterrupted bhakti with a sincere heart, Krishna gives us the intelligence by which we can act and by which we will return to him. And finally, one may feel worried. Hey, what if I don't succeed? What if I'm not successful? मैं आपका सुन के मैं ये भक्ति पाथ में आ गया. I start, mixing bhakti with my work. If I don't succeed, what? नेहा विक्रमनाशस्ति प्रत्यवाय न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. So the progress that we make in bhakti is eternal because it is on the spirit soul. It is on the platform of the soul, which is eternal. This bhakti is eternal. The progress that you make in bhakti is eternal. It protects us from the fear of death. Our fear of death is because we will lose everything that we have collected. Our degrees, our jobs, our bank balances, our fame, our brothers, our sisters, our wives, our children. We are attached to all these things. Because of that attachment, death is fearful. But if we take shelter of the Lord, we take shelter of the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, then we will be perfect. So to conclude, just one last point I want to make. Whether the Gita helps you in your life or your life leads you to the Gita. Sometimes life may dhakke kha ke, lafe kha ke, we are led to the Gita. Either ways, if we take shelter of the Gita and its instructions, our goal will be clear, our path will be clear. Goal is clear कि कहाँ जाना है, वो clear हो जाए. कैसे पहुंचना है उस path पे, उस goal तक. Our path will be clear, and our life will be successful and sublime at the same time. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. So I'll end here. Happy to take any questions or any comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sridama Sakha Prabhu, for your wonderful, wonderful class. Amazing insights from the Gita, your practical wisdom, your experiences. It was amazing. We did not come to know how this 1 hour has passed. 1 hour, 20 minutes has passed so quickly. Thank you, Prabhu. I think so. You had so much more to share. We just confined you with this small class here of Prerana. Thank you, Prabhu, for your wonderful wisdom. We have many questions, but time is not on our side. A quick 2 questions I'll ask in a row, and you can give the answer one after another. The first question is, this is a question which says, okay, among various qualities like humility, tolerance, honesty, which do you feel has helped you most in your business or entrepreneurship? So the first question. And second question is, Hare Krishna Prabhu, how do you deal with co-workers who are not of your faith, who don't practice or understand your practices? These are two questions, quick questions for you. Hare Krishna.
Well, I'll speak for myself. I am not going to speak for anybody else. That for me, what has worked, what quality has worked the best is really sincerity. Because if you are sincere, all other things fall into place. So, humility, tolerance, all the qualities that are spoken about in the Gita, all are important. And these qualities will automatically develop if we engage in the process of bhakti. But sincerity is very important, because that ensures that whatever you do, whether you're a father, you're a son, you're a worker, you're a entrepreneur, you're a CEO, you're a chaprasi, whatever you are, sincerity से काम करोगे, the Lord is pleased by that. This is what I felt is, the most, what has helped me the most in my career. Of course, then with sincerity comes sincere hard work, comes sincere sadhana, comes sincere parenting, sincere whatever, everything. You add the adjective sincere to whatever you're doing, automatically you'll do it honestly, you'll do it with humility, you'll do it with tolerance, you'll do it with enthusiasm, you'll do it with ambition. Sincerity. And as far as the second question is concerned, working with co-workers of other faiths should not be a problem. Why is it a challenge? We can work with everybody. See, we should not go and try to preach our faith to others. That is a mistake I made in that company which I spoke, that failure that I spoke about. Going and preaching about Krishna consciousness to people who don't care at all. They're only interested in tum kitna number laya, kitna sales laya bhai. Right? So going and preaching to such people is a waste of time. Don't do it. Respect people, what faith they are following. Just respect them for what they are doing, and don't unnecessarily try to preach to them. For people of other faith, we work with them with all honesty, sincerity. We don't treat them like, see, we are all human beings. At some level, we are all human beings, right? And we all have a nose, eyes, ears, mouth. We're all same at one level, right? But then we are all different also. The Bhagavad Gita also tells us how people are different. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of weakness. So the people are different also. But what we have to do, we have to do our duty to best of our ability. If it means working with co-workers, let us do it. If they have a different way of understanding work, discuss with them and arrive at a common minimum program. कि ये तो इतना तो करना है अपने को साथ में. Rather than going into their religion or their faith or their style of working, find a way to make it work. That is what I would feel, in answer to your question. Any other questions, Baldev Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. More questions are coming up. I'll ask you one more question, Prabhu. Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If you do the best, but if you are not recognized for it, then how should we tolerate that?
Yeah, so if you do your best and you're not recognized for it, that is pretty much part of corporate life. I'm sure those of you who have worked in corporate life, that's how it works, right? You may do your best, you may achieve stellar results, and you may still not be recognized for it. But you can't keep मतलब सूरज को बहुत टाइम तक छुपाया नहीं जा सकता है. जो फायरफ्लाई होता है, फायरफ्लाई कैन बी हिडन. यू कैन हाइड अ फायरफ्लाई अंडर a pillow and it will never come out for 100 years. But sun cannot be hidden. Or sun chodo, sun is a very big example, but even a very powerful 200-watt bulb, if it is lit up, you can't hide it. आप उसके ऊपर कितना भी कपड़ा चढ़ा, उसका लाइट दिखाई देगा. Someone will notice. So what we need to do is, need to keep working sincerely, do your work to the best of your ability, make efforts. If you really want to be recognized, see, the Gita tells us that do your work, karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. Don't be attached to result. Just do your best. Give your best for Krishna. If Krishna gives you results, very good. If it doesn't give, then also very good. But at a practical level, if you're not able to tolerate it, you're not able to work, you're not able to be peaceful in your work because somebody is stealing your credit, do something about it. Govind Prabhu always says this, that when there's a challenge in your life, you have only two options. One, tolerate. Tam se diksha svabharata. Tolerate it, tolerate it, tolerate it, tolerate it. If you can't do anything about it, tolerate it. But if you can't tolerate, then do something about it. Either, start kind of, whatever you're doing, make sure that people get to know about it. One or two more people than what normally would know. Make sure they get to know about it. Interact with more people in your organization. Start talking to your bosses, colleagues, friends. Sit with them for lunch. They will ask you, what are you doing? Tell them what you're doing. So we can do all these things. If you want to be recognized at any cost, there are ways and means to do it. But believe me, my friend, whoever is asking this question, it's a very difficult task, because if you are in the wrong company, wrong people who are, who want to get work done from you but give you no credit, no recognition of the same, you're probably in the wrong place. If you have tried and still it's not working out, maybe it's time to move on. If you're too disturbed by it. Baldev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much. We would like to continue for more time actually, but time is now calling us back. We have more questions here, so those devotees, those enthusiastic hearers on our audience, I'm sorry I'm not able to ask all your questions to Prabhu here, but I'll give you one nice assurance. Please come whenever the lockdown opens. Radha Gopinath Temple ISKCON Chopati opens up every Sunday morning. Be there. Shri Radha Gopinath, Gaurnita, Gopalji will be there. Srila Prabhupada will be there. And I'll guarantee you, Sridama, Sakha, Prabhu also will be there. He never misses the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class on Sundays. You will find him, ask all your questions, and we're happy to answer you. So this is something which I can easily tell you all. So whenever temple opens up, and we pray for that, opens as early as possible. We are missing each other's association, and we are missing Sridama Sakha also live, not like this life, but in practical reality, physically live. So thank you, Sridama Saka Prabhu, for sharing your wisdom, sharing your time and energy with us. Indeed, we are very grateful for all this. And let us thank once again Prabhuji in our traditional style by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
I thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. Very grateful for giving me this chance. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.